Hello. How are we? It's been a while. When did I last do a live stream? Can't remember. Hello everyone, welcome to a live stream, a Monday special. We're going to be doing these more often. I will be doing one on Wednesday as well. Something's happening on Wednesday. You may know. CPI. So we'll do a live reaction as normal, which will be pretty good. So I might as well just start off with going through what's actually happening this week before we start getting into some altcoins and stuff. So big word of warning while everyone jumps on and says hello and stuff like that. Feel free, if you're new around here, to like said live stream. If it's your first live stream you've caught, sweet. I'll probably try and do it at 2 o'clock most of the time, Monday and Fridays, but they will be a one tomorrow. Not tomorrow, Wednesday, because of this. That's crept up fast, hasn't it? So we're finally at the middle of the month, and yeah, it's going a bit crazy already. But yeah, good morning, everyone, if you're in the morning, or good afternoon. PS1 loading screen vibes. Banter. Greetings from Greece, hello. Wish it was as warm as it was in Greece the last time I was there. Over here, though, Christ. The missus is good. She's recovering well. Still got 23 staples in her. Bless her. But no, she's getting better. Still can't do much, though, so it's quite funny to watch her struggle. Good day, good day, good day. So yeah, as I alluded to, we've got this bad boy to comprehend middle of the week on a Wednesday, bit of hump day. So yeah, it's an unfortunate element of the week, I think, because this week's relatively quiet in terms of information. But CPI, we'll see. I've not even looked, to be fair. Hold on. Tell you what we'll do. Let's have a butcher's at what the thingy-mabobby rate is, the what do you call it? The estimates. So yeah, we've had a big drop down. Probably not a lot's going to happen, in my opinion. Consensus is 4.1. Ooh, hello. It might actually go up a little bit. So it depends how... Oh no, sorry. This is a consensus. Come on, Ash. Use your brain. Wow, another... Yeah, we'll see. Sorry, I was totally... Oh, Monday vibes. So yeah, we'll see where that goes, but we'll talk about that in more detail on Wednesday. If it comes down that much, I'll be eating my own words. I was like, they're never going to get down to 2% that quickly. Surely not. And unless it's just all rigged data. But all the information's looking relatively savage in terms of like speed. 5.3 down to 5% on the call would be huge as well. So yeah, we'll see how things go. For obvious reasons, that's the forecast. If you're wondering, we've definitely gone very quickly, in my opinion, but we'll see. Does anyone want to look at the UK? The UK is terrible. There it is. Welcome to the UK. Shocking. So even our consensus is like, and the previous was, we still missed. We always miss in the UK. It's very, very different. But hey ho, let's talk about other things. So yeah, as I said, just that really. So yeah, feel free to chuck any altcoins at me in terms of pricing analysis. I'm going to give you my kind of opinion on certain things. The market's in a bit of a lull in Bitcoin, which is usually good for altcoins to do something, but nothing's happened yet. Dominance has hit a level of significance. This is right on a fib level as well, by the way. So on the previous streams, I've been talking about if we do a correction, we may get a mini alt season. Still viable. It just depends on what Bitcoin does. Because Bitcoin's like, we'll just chill out here, thank you. But we'll see how things go. Again, total 3, chilling at the lows. Had a bit of a push up. Are we going to pull back down? Are we going to go lower and then sit down here again? We've been in a 450 to 300 billion range for nearly a year now, or over a year nearly. So yeah, it's not been great for altcoins, but it's not too bad. It could be a lot worse. Could be way worse. So yeah, I know a lot of people do ask me questions. What was it like in the previous cycle? I had a really good question on my Patreon, on my MMQs last week about what was it like in terms of Twitter and YouTube in like the previous cycle. Very different, very, very different. Like, I think there was about 12, 13 YouTubers in crypto when I was first starting out in 2019. Yeah, there's a lot of YouTubers around still, so we're nowhere near as definitely as what we were in the past, I believe anyways. So what we got? We've got Nia. Let's have a butchers at Nia. Nia is, by the way, if you don't know this, I hold Nia. A lot of people ask me, do you hold Nia? Yes, I do. Have been since... when did I buy it? End of the year. End of 2022 I bought it. I've not been holding for too long. So Nia was the one that I really wanted and liked, but it took off and I went, right, I'll wait for that. Because I'm often of that paradigm shift of it's had one cycle, did well, the next cycle's often better. Now, this isn't bulletproof, this analogy, bear that in mind. But often you find when a coin releases as well in the first cycle, the second cycle with network effect, the team, the development, all that kind of stuff, tends to do pretty well in the second one, right? Not all of them, don't get me wrong, not all of them. But usually they've got the network effect and the community and stuff behind them, so it helps. But in terms of if we're looking at how... I don't really have to explain much with this one. It's $1.30 and it was $20. Do you reckon it's cheap enough to buy yet? Come on. I personally think it is. I've been buying little bits and bobs. I've not been buying for the last 2 or 3 months because of the house sort of situation. But I bought a little bit down here. I bought a little bit up at these levels as well, just under $2. And I've bought a little bit in and around this kind of spiky area where it got a little bit mental. But I have been staking. I think my average buy-in's about $1.80, so I'm underwater a little bit, but I'm not too bothered. I mean, rough with the smooth, isn't it, when you think about it in this sense, in terms of even if this goes to say $8, $9, $10, right, and you buy in an average around $1.30, $2, it's like, sweet, cool, that'll do. You know, it's still money, but the staking rewards on this are really quite good. You get compounding, paid every day, pretty much, and it's relatively quick in terms of a network to use. So personally, quite like it for staking. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I personally think this is pretty cheap. Retested the lows again, actually went a little bit lower than the previous lows, but it was classed as a security. But I don't think that will really matter too much. Personally, Dot's an easy one. I mean, you don't have to look much at Dot in terms of visualizing, is it cheap? I'm getting a lot of hate on my Twitter at the minute because I keep talking about Dot, and it's really funny because every time I get it, I'm just going to keep talking about it. I said it before in a tweet this morning. If you've not checked out the video of Decoded, check it out. If you're not a holder, it will help you understand what's happening in the future. If you are a holder, it'll get you up to date. If you're just a hater, well, I don't really care, because why throw stuff at other people when, you know, it's like going to the shop and like, imagine if, I don't know, imagine like a vegan in front of you or a vegetarian having a different sandwich to you and you really like going, that sandwich is crap, why are you buying it? Doesn't have enough lettuce in that. It sounds stupid, doesn't it? But that's what happens in investing. But hey ho, it is what it is. So yeah, Dots, oh, come on. I mean, anything around that $5 mark for me, it's consolidation, isn't it? Just chilling, which isn't too bad. If you could do me a favor, peoples, press the like button. I've only got 10 likes. That's a shame. But yeah, hit the like button. Let's get this up the algorithm. It's a slow Monday today, I think, because the market's boring. Not many people are kicking about today, which isn't a bad thing, really. I will go back to other ones, but someone just said Link. Sorry, but I'm not a fan of Link. I never have been. Personally, I don't see the hype around it, but that's my opinion on it. This looks cheap, but the reason why I say Link isn't my thing, Link on the BTC pairs was by far the worst in the previous cycle, so this has to be known. The reason why it went up in USD was because of BTC. It had a massive bull cycle well before we had a bull cycle in the whole entire market. There was a lot of hype around it. And then for some reason, throughout this is a bull cycle, by the way, in terms of the entire market. Every single altcoin was going up at this point, and this was going down. It was very odd. So that's something you need to be bear in mind with Chainlink. So it's massively undervalued, but does it have enough oomph to recover? Don't know. I personally just don't like it. Anyways, moving on. What was it? Metis. Let's have a look at Metis. Metis got hacked, didn't it, recently? Or have I just made that up? Oh, wow. Okay. So we're back at low levels-ish. Had a nice little pump to the upside during some sort of hype. Can't remember what. I can't remember when I sold this. I bought it and sold it. I did have it for a bit around the low levels. I think I sold it around here, but there was no real... What was it? Can't remember what. It was some sort of hype around, I think it was Aave or something like that. But I got rid of it. I wasn't too struck on it. I was a bit conflicted in my judgment in terms of why certain things were getting released and Metis was getting no, I want to say preferential treatment, because Vitalik's mother's involved in this one, so I would have thought it would have been top of the tree for like certain situations, right? It's not, and I don't quite understand that. But for me, I just bailed out of it. I got a decent profit. This was one of the ones this year I've actually had a decent amount of profit in, so I'm quite happy. But for me, it looks cheap, but it has, I think, and I will say this, huge potential in terms of if it gets put at the front and center of things. Because when I talk about Metis DAO, you've got to remember the previous price point. It was all the way up here. So there's huge risk to reward to be made here, but it all depends on if, buts, and maybes, isn't it? That's a problem with it. So when we talk about layer 1 solutions and then layer 2, which is what this is, and obviously ZK rollups and all that kind of technology, how much front and center is it going to be? Because I still think, this is my opinion, that there's a lot of competition in that area. A lot of new coins have came out. OP, for example, Arbitrum. There's a few others out there as well that I've not thought of. Loopring. There's loads. There's loads of layer 2s, right? So it's very much a competition game, and I don't really like that sometimes. But yeah, huge risk. If they get it right, huge risk to reward. It could easily go way beyond its all-time high as well, because even when it's at that price point, it wasn't massively high in terms of market cap. So there's potential, genuine potential. But it's one of those ones where it's like, where's the market cap? Yeah, 76. So in terms of market cap, it's more like a one where you'd want to go less on the percentages, just in case it doesn't shoot to the sky. So yeah, there's a lot of value there, but don't go too heavy on it. That's my personal thought on it, because things could get very, very interesting if it does do well. What else have we got? Quite a few. Oh, thanks for the likes, by the way. I've got 28 now. Yes. I should take live streaming more serious, shouldn't I, to be fair? I just do it for fun. I quite like it. Where are we at? Solana for me is undervalued, but I wanted to buy Solana at $15. So I was tweeting at the start of, like, you know, when it was like dying. I've got tweets from me ages ago saying I'll buy it at $15, just like, because it was like a proper key level around here, thinking, right, if we go down to this level here, I'll buy it. But FTX happened, right? And I kind of went, nah, bollocks to that. I'm not buying that. Because the whole thing with, oh, my camera's frozen. Bear with me. It's fine. It always does this. It'll come back on in a second. But yeah, with Solana, funny enough, right? Am I going to return? Hi. Hello. So with Solana, I was like, what's going to come out in the bankruptcy hearings of all the whatever courts hearings with Sam Bankman-Fried, because it was his coin. So I don't want to know if there's any kind of ugly manipulation, because that will really send investors to flood out, really, let's be fair. But in terms of value proposition, it's huge, isn't it? It's like that. This feels like the Ethereum of the previous cycle, like the first cycle that I was part of, the ICO boom, where it was like, if you remember Ethereum, so I think it went down 94% in terms of the previous cycle. Yeah, so this has gone down 97% at the low. That's huge, but it could still recover, right? So yeah, could be fun. We'll see how it goes, but yeah, that is huge value. But as I say, I'm a little bit afraid of like what could come out in certain documents and legal stuff, because it will go public. So it could be one of those ones where it's like, will it do okay? Is there any shady stuff behind the scenes? And yeah, we'll see. But yeah, for me, I wanted to buy it, but when FTX just died, I was like, nah, this isn't for me, because it was like getting towards this $15 level, which I was like, yeah, sweet, and then boom, down to $7. Whoa, huge, monstrous, really, when you think about it. But yeah, so what else have we got? Gavin Wood talking about dot reads way more confident out of all. Personally, for me, yeah, same. Patience, yeah. Patience is something that you can't really learn. It's like you can learn it through experience, if that makes sense, but you can't learn it in a course. You can't learn it in a book. You've got to understand how you tick as a human as well, because everyone's different. People like more risk. Some people have more patience. Some people don't like risk. Some people are just very, very lazy as well. I mean, laziness is a really bad one, where people will do literally no research, just want to get rich and won't do the work. And that's the worst. Like, they're the sort of the reply guys you get in Twitter quite a lot, which really sucks because I don't quite understand it. But yeah, we'll see. Decoded increased my conviction. Yeah, it's made things really, really positive for me in terms of listening to just the fact that they've actually understood what's going wrong and working. But Polkadot, you got to remember, it's forkless, which is huge. So you think Bitcoin, you can't change it, you got to fork it. Ethereum, you can't change, you got to fork it. Most chains, you got to fork, which is the way it is. But yeah, it's good. Sorry, I just got a random email. So what else we got? What else? Thoughts on Fantom? Fantom's all right in my opinion, but what scares me again with Fantom is the fact that the chief bod, Andrea, or whatever he's called, keeps vanishing, doesn't he? He keeps doing things. It goes through these little cycles of absolutely craziness, but this was monstrous gains. Like, this did huge. I've known Fantom for a very long time. It's like, look, it's been around for ages. Huge. Now, we talk about, again, I said it before, when we talk about previous cycles, we talk about how a coin does in the first one and can it match it up with the second one. Usually they can. But yeah, there's like, let's have a little look. There you go. So this came out at like a really cacky time in like that bull cycle, a bear cycle, sorry, that first one. So 2019 it came out, didn't really experience a bull, had its first one, big jump, and then all the way down here. So the risk to reward is definitely there, but for me, it just depends on, are the team going to stay together? Because often he runs away and like kind of go, oh, I'm moving away from the project, I've done whatever I need to do. I think it was, I can't remember when he said it. It probably on this point where it just died, but he's obviously came back. Yeah. Was it? He did a project once. They were asked about it being a security from the SEC. He seems to stick to the project when it's going good. Yeah, that kind of worries me. That as an investor, that would scare the living daylight out of me. Like, if you're putting your own money into that, thinking, right, sweet, this is cool, and then when the tough gets when it gets tough, you're just going to run away or kind of go a little bit quiet. It's a bad trait, and we've seen that recently with a couple of exploitations. I think it was to do with the Metis one, and not Metis. Was it Moonbeam? Not Moonbeam, Moon River, the multi-chain kind of exploitation that happened. The CEO of that company had vanished for like months on end. There was no updates, and then obviously he got exploited. So stuff like that scares me. But it happens with coins all the time. This is why I like actively talked about Zilliqa being a bit of a weird one in terms of whether you should hold it or not, because the team has changed 3 times since I've literally been an investor and became a non-investor by taking profit. You don't want to have an inconsistent team. I mean, you just don't, realistically. Like, imagine Ethereum without Vitalik. What would happen? You just don't know, do you? And you don't want to know sometimes with an investor. It's like when certain big CEOs of companies just walk away and they're getting replaced by nobody. It's like, that's going to massively affect any pricing. So yeah, that scares me, but in terms of value, it's there. You can see it's there. Like, most altcoins look like this. There's definite value. But can you trust that the team are going to stick with it when it's like going through more of a bear market kind of situation, or the longer it's here? You just don't know, do you? That's the beauty of it. Game of investing. Rose. Oh, yeah. I really like Rose. Someone asked me in my Patreon the other day, I think it was Patreon, if I was to pick one coin that would easily do a 10x in my holdings, what would it be? And I said Rose. So that gives you an idea of where I am with Rose. It's 0.47 cents, which is crazy, and where its all-time high is up here. For me, it only just came out the gate and we're starting to get some traction. Obviously, the bull market ended. So this is kind of fitting my mold of like what coins I tend to go for. So I've talked about it a few times in terms of like some of my biggest hits in the previous cycle were coins that have been around and had one cycle, or coins that got released just either into the bear cycle or at the end of the bull cycle. And this kind of fits that into the bull cycle, but not fully rampant and not really getting a network effect and the partnership and the growth going. But they have been adding to it in the bear cycle, which is fantastic. So for me, it looks great. Get the emissions out of the way, get the VCs sold off, and start building from there on, and then we'll see what the hype takes us. But this looks, for me, it looks like fantastic value, providing Meta do okay, and because they've still got a lot of Meta connections, a lot of privacy elements to it. But this is like, you know, it's consolidation. It's just chilling out. It's quite nice. But again, fair value. I mean, some coins don't look like this now, let's be fair. So it's pretty good fun. I don't really like Elrond, to be fair. That's my personal opinion. They've changed and rebranded 3 times now, and that does my shit in. It really does. It annoys me. I wasn't too happy with how they marketed it when Elrond came out. They were a little bit shady with how they were doing their TPS kind of data on a testnet network without any degradation. So you've got to bear that in mind. But again, if you're looking at it, that is unbelievable risk to reward there. Going towards all-time high, which I know it's never possible to do, but from $34 up to $500 is a huge jump. It could happen, don't get me wrong. But for me, it feels like they're reinventing the wheel every time. They're continuously jumping on trends and changing the name of the company or the asset, which is doing my head in. So the fact that it's got a very metaversey, multiversey, whatever username at the time of when the metaverse was popping off kind of makes you think, why have you changed your name? Just stick with the brand identity. Like, I quite liked Elrond as a name. I thought it was pretty cool, but that's my personal belief on it anyways. But I'm very much, it's like me changing my company name to Learning Multiverse when it's the hypes there, or Learning NFTs. It's just like, oh, come on. You got to stick to what you know sometimes. Like, there's not many coins that rebrand. It's very rare that they do. This has done it twice now. That's like, whoa, okay. I can't remember for the life of me what it was called before Elrond. It was something else before Elrond. It was like, oh, what was it? But I've totally forgotten. It'll come back to me at some point. I showed my age there. In the past cycles, a lot of vaults disappeared from the top 100. Does this cycle feel any different? It feels very different because a lot of things have not moved out of that top 100. So I've talked about this before as well, and a lot of people were like, wow, okay, that makes sense. Where am I going? Here. So when we talk about the top 30, right, they haven't moved much, right, in terms of stuff. Like, some stuff have gone down and up or down a little bit. But in the previous cycles, when you go to the historic time shots, it's very different. It's very, very different. So if we talk about, I don't know, 2018, 4th of February 2018, like, a lot of these coins really did vanish, right? So Neo is a good example. EOS, Neem, IOTA, Dash, you could probably argue. Lisk, another one. VeChain's still hovering around a little bit. Ethereum Classic still hovering. Quantum, or Qtum. Random coins, right? But when we look at, like, when we go back to, bear with me. If we go back to the cycle top, November 2021, we'll talk, I don't know, we'll do December the 5th, 2021. Like, it's not too different, realistically, when you think about it. There's quite a lot up here. Terra, obviously, we know what happened there. Dogecoin, Avalanche, Sheep still there. Polygon still there. Obviously, that's going to be a bit different. Litecoin, Chainlink still in the same position. Uniswap as well. Some stuff has moved forward, don't get me wrong. But it's nowhere near as different, in my opinion. Like, there's a lot of things that have changed, yes, obviously. But the scariest thing is, we're still kind of a higher percentage level of coins in this top level, which is quite good. You want that. Whereas some just were like, nah, we're going to vanish. Which kind of makes sense, really, because the evolution of the space has changed. I think a lot more settled now. So for me, technology and adoption has came forward because network effect is staying and remaining with these coins. So yeah, there's quite a few. Obviously, that's a new coin, but overall, it's not much difference realistically, which is really, really positive. What makes Rose special from the others? I think the privacy element to it is pretty good. The partnerships are pretty good. It's a fast, efficient blockchain. It works. It's got a really decent team as well. So for me, I quite like it. It's more, for me, it's more of like a low cap coin. Well, not so much a low cap, but like a middle to low cap. Let's have a little look at where is it? Where are we? Yeah, 269. So it's not too far away from like being. It's got huge potential. This could be a multi-billion-dollar asset if they get it right. With the Meta kind of partnerships and incorporation that they've got, could be huge. And obviously Web3 development through that could be massive as well. So that's just my opinion on it. I quite like it. I always had an eye on it, but I kind of missed the boat originally. And I don't like chasing things in the bull market because often you get caught out if you do that. Speaking from experience, I've done that before. So yeah, I waited for it to kind of pull back down and come back to a nice level, and I can accumulate. And the staking rewards are pretty good on it too. It just needs to settle down with the emissions, and it should be okay. But that's my personal belief on it, anyways. Akala is on his knees right now, but had recent mad spikes, probably due to the movement in the DOT ecosystem. Yeah, Akala is really, it's annoying. Akala, isn't it? Akala was the test that I did on the crowd loans, the original first crowd loan that I went into. I didn't put much dot into it. I think I put about 100 dot, if that, just to test it, see how it was. I liked the project in terms of what they aim to achieve, but in terms of execution, they, in my opinion, failed. They failed to, even the website isn't even up to date now. It's like for me, they've failed. They need to really go back to the drawing board with this one and like rehash what they were doing. A lot of team members have left as well. The AUSD, which was a stable currency that they were using at the time, had totally failed. This here, as you can see, but they have brought out, obviously, on the dot ecosystem now Tether, so that's a good thing. But yeah, they're kind of, yeah, it's really annoying. It's really annoying how it kind of went like that. But there is genuine elements that maybe it could be worth something. But when you look at the price action on it, you've just literally said it there. There's some huge spikes on it at the minute. So if you look, like, yeah, it's not much, but that doesn't look much, but it actually is quite a big push to the upside, but it is in a massive downtrend. So yeah, it'll be huge. But the problem is it has kind of brought a negative effect to a lot of the system, but we'll see. There is better projects on dot though. I wouldn't worry too much about it. What else have we got? Did it surprise you how well Injective done? And a little bit, yeah. Injective's a really, really good project in my opinion. I talked about it in 2020. It was one of my undervalued coin picks when it first got released. I thought this is really awesome. It took a while to get going, certainly when you look at the chart anyways. So if you look at this, so it came out in November 2020 and I was talking about it, and it had a decent run. Like, don't get me wrong, it had a pretty okay run, but it was a little bit disappointing on that run because it kind of went with the market, but the value was there, but it kind of, yeah, don't me get wrong, it didn't like a 17x, but other assets were doing, like, at that point in terms of market capitalization, much higher. So it was kind of a disappointment at the time, but it was a new asset. Sometimes new assets just don't grow because they haven't got the utility or the community base there. Now we're seeing a lot more stronger strength, and this is like against the trend of the entire market. When you think about it, look at all the assets I've just shown you, like, which are literally flatlined, and this is like still going up. There's a new release coming out very, very soon on Injective, so it may well get a sell-off after it. Wait and see. But I do like it a lot. But when you look at like how many blocks produced now, on-chain transactions, the speed of it, all that kind of stuff, it's just growing and growing, and that's what you want from an ecosystem. And when we talk about network effect and the growth of ecosystems and competition, when they do stand out, they do make a lot of price action happen eventually over time. So it's pretty good. I like it a lot. It's just one of those things where, unfortunately, I didn't buy it in the first cycle, and I've not bought it this cycle. Whoopsie daisy. But you can't have them all though. That's when you start running into kind of problems where you want to buy everything. It's usually quite good that you do enough research, but for me, physically, it's like, oh, it's so annoying. It's so annoying because you get to a point, and I've said this so many times on my Patreon, you'll do your research and you'll have like a list of 25 coins. You'll be like, oh, I want that. And then the one that you really wanted will do well. It's like, fuck. I had a massive list at one point. It was huge. I did a YouTube video on it, actually. It'll be kicking around somewhere. What else we got? ICP. Yeah, ICP is an interesting one. The worst launch ever. It may well do well. You can stake Rose, yeah. Rose is really, really easy to stake. Just go into the Rose wallet and just set up your wallet, put in your Rose and press the stake button. It's absolutely super simple. It's one of the most straightforward ones you can do. Trying to think what else we got. Have I looked into Mina? I've looked into it a little bit. It's something that I get asked quite a lot on my Patreon, actually, to just go over every now and again. Looks a solid play, but for me, it's probably the one that I wouldn't want to go for. But that's my personal opinion on it. Again, going back to other blockchains and stuff like that, or other types of layer 1s, layer 2s, etc., privacy sort of stuff. There's a lot of them, and you want to kind of pick your battles. This one's got a lot of utility with the fact that it's quite a small blockchain. It's pretty decent, but the price action on this isn't too bad neither. It's actually looking pretty decent. Mina. So yeah, this one, nice big push to the downside, then a big correction into this level, but it could go lower though. That's the thing. Like this looks like fantastic opportunity, but again, it goes to the same Metis element. Are we going to get too many of the similar sort of blockchains that are going to be ZKs? But we'll see. Can hear people outside. Nightmare. Can't wait to move out, Be great. Knowing your thoughts on Dot and Glimmer, do you rate... No. I don't rate any of the Kusama stuff, in my opinion. I've said it before, I don't really see the purpose of a coin or coins around the testnet. Just doesn't... It was interesting to listen to Gavin Wood in terms of talking about the changes. And the fact that they are getting rid of, in my opinion anyways, the leases and the slots for the parachains in terms of like higher on a core basis, which is much better because it opens up the introduction element of people just wanting to deploy code, right? That's a good thing. So when you think about the parachain auctions, how they kind of failed in a way that they were getting massive amounts of monies to win the slot, game theory style, kind of didn't really work. But when you talk about if they're going to get rid of them, are they going to get rid of this? I don't know. Interesting. So for me, I find that it'd be better if Polkadot focused on their own chain, but had a test chain within that would allow them to test everything. So Kusama kind of, I don't know what's going to happen with Kusama. I was expecting something to come out regarding it because obviously it's always been described as the wild cousin, the experimental blockchain. But why would you want to experiment on a blockchain when you can get the real thing on the other chain, right? It's always been a burning question of mine anyways. I've never really been totally into that idea. It's like, yeah, it's cool kind of ish, but you just don't know, right? So for me, I think it's failed. And when you look at the price action of the likes of Moonriver, it kind of hurts when you look at it. It's like, oh God. So it could be a wild punt. It could do really well, but it could be an absolute, it could be a total failure if you buy into it. You just don't know what's going to happen. It all depends on where these updates go. And we talk about Polkadot 2.0, all that kind of stuff, what's changing there. What about KSM? What about all these projects on KSM? What's going to happen there? Are they going to change? Don't know. So huge element here to see what could happen regarding any updates. So we're not heard anything from that yet. But yeah, I think this will be very hard to do a $400 run unless the hype around Polkadot is massive. And if the hype around Polkadot's massive and you hold them Polkadot projects, you probably would win anyways. But if you're still holding KSM ones, it may well drag it up. But I find it unlikely to be fair. I don't really like the idea of ARB anymore. I kind of liked it at the start, and then I kind of did. did a regretting purchase, I think. It was like, yeah, I like this. And then I was like, no, I don't. Because when you look into the utility of it, it's not great. And when you look at the fact of the dilution, it's like, oh, God, that's huge. If you get caught on the wrong end of this, or if the market doesn't move up enough, it may hurt. So a lot of token value locked, but it's been around for a while, obviously. The token, how much is the token going to get used? Don't know. So there's a lot of unknown questions with this in terms of around that point. But it's already like, if you think fully diluted, 11 billion, it would put it 6 or 7, sorry, which is huge when you think about it. So it's like, the value, is it there? No, I'd rather buy something else personally, but that's my personal thought on it. But we'll see how things go. CLV. I've not looked at this for, in all fairness, not for a while. Well, I looked at it recently, but not enough to kind of get a good gist of it. This could do well because you talk about wallets, humans, peoples wanting to get, what's the word, decentralized in an easy fashion. To some people, ledgers are too complicated, or they don't want to spend it, or obviously all the negative press. Same with the Trezor. This obviously is a relatively decent one. Obviously, we all know Clover Finance, Polkadot. They do build some pretty nice wallets over on Polkadot, even though people say the UI is pretty shit. But we'll see how things go with that. But for me, I quite like the idea of a simple wallet that supports everything. But whether it needs a coin or not, I don't know. That's another question too. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how things go with that one. Do you think we'll actually see an all-time high? Yeah, I think for Bitcoin definitely. But in terms of Bitcoin itself, it's different to altcoins, isn't it? We've seen that already with the with the Bitcoin dominance and stuff. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I was very much against the all-time high in the previous cycle, and I was proven massively wrong. So yeah, but that was when it was like $3,000 to be fair. Hydra DX I've talked about in a video recently. It's decent. I like it. I've not looked at Interlay though, so can't really help you with that one. Do you think the Apple Vision Pro will end up pumping the metaverse? It's a good question actually. I don't know. I don't think it will, because it's not going to be there for consumers just yet. I think it's going to be for developers only for the first few years, I believe, and then maybe when it goes released to the public. I think you got more chance with Meta doing that again with the new portal and stuff like that. Their new headsets coming out, and you've also got PS5 with their VR. So if there's incorporation between Sony and obviously cryptocurrency, that'd be huge. In all fairness, Sony do have some sort of partner relationships in terms of digital cameras sort of situation, but not with the gaming side yet. But I'm speculating that may well happen in the future. So yeah, there's definitely the world of VR can definitely help, but I think the Apple side of it, I don't think it's going to come soon enough for like this cycle anyways. Personally, it looks like it's going to be, I think the original release is going to get delayed anyways in that side, so we'll see how things will go. Since the US announced interest rate rise is not really going up soon, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, please review your bags. You've got way too many bags. That's my review of it, to be fair. You need to cut at least half of them out, in my opinion. Less is more. Quant. Ooh, I've not looked at Quant for a while. I piss a lot of people off in Quant, like last year. Because I said to people, don't buy it at $280 or whatever it went to. It went crazy numbers. Where did it go to? It was here, this spike. I did a video on it saying, don't buy it, you're a bit stupid, or $200. And I said it'll go under $100. It's nearly under $100, not quite there yet. But yeah, it got a lot of hype. The thing with this that scares me is the central bank digital currencies around it. Is like, yeah, it seems a little bit conflicting in terms of if you're going to back something that could actually give us central bank digital currencies, in my opinion. That's the scariest part of it. But we'll see. We'll see if that happens or if that materializes. So for me, it looks a solid project in terms of a solid blockchain, etc., etc., etc. But I don't really want to be a part of something that's going to actually facilitate something that we all as a cryptocurrency community should not be backing, because it's not crypto for obvious reasons. So kind of scares me. I think we'll see new high money due to the debasement. Yes, I think now a lot of people are seeing that weakness in the dollar, and people are a bit more savvy to it as well in terms of how it all works. And that's always going to be good for cryptocurrency. It's always going to be good for safety as well, for fund management, and also an opportunity. If we are going to see a recession, I see crypto doing well anyways, personally. It'll go like gold. But also you got to think spot ETFs, and yeah, you get the idea. So there's a lot of things there, but we'll see how things go. I just covered Nia. Nia looks like a solid buy. Atom, I've not looked at, to be fair. Let's have a look at Atom. Atom looks all right as a buy, to be fair. But yeah, that's an old fib, isn't it? Oh, hello. We're back in this little weird range that I did ages ago. Yeah, I wanted Atom a lot lower, but it hasn't got anywhere near that. So I'm not really going to partake in this one this year. This was on my list to buy, Atom, but it's had a rough few years with obviously FTX and what do you call it, Luna. Luna was the biggest one that I kind of went, because Luna was one of their coins. I know, crazy, mental. But yeah, bit of an ugly downtrend, possible lower high here. Are we going to go into this area? Maybe. We'll see. I'm hoping altcoins do well soon, actually, to be fair. We need Bitcoin just chill out. But yeah. Did you alter your presumptions this bear market about certain coins and the way the bear market developed, or did you expectations? Some changed, some didn't. I was spot on with a few things, but I was wrong on others. It just depends on how you look at it. It's all about kind of perspective, a bit of intuition. I was spot on with certain coins not doing as well as they should have done, because a lot of hype does die down very quickly in a bear market. When things get hyped, like really good news just doesn't work, and it's a shame really. But so far I've been okay. I mean, a lot of people still can't believe that I've started to buy. Like when FTX kind of went belly up, I was like, why are you buying? People just couldn't grasp, because I was so bearish that year. And then when something cataclysmically went wrong, they couldn't comprehend that I flipped it. But that's how the market should work. But it's hard to gauge anything in this market sometimes when you have very limited control. When you find out that the second biggest exchange, for example, is going to go belly up and lose like however many billions overnight, is like pretty scary. But we've actually survived it, and it's pretty good. Looking at the Bitcoin price, it's like, yeah, sweet, that's awesome. It's not too bad, is it? So I'm pretty happy with where I am in the market, but you've got to buy as low as you possibly can. It's hard to say how low is low, right? So yeah, perspective may change depending on news, information, and you've got to be kind of adaptable really. But you can't get too bullish and you can't get too bearish is usually where things go wrong. Fantom's brighter, Fanta. RSR does look horrendous, but I'll say this. These are the sort of coins that you think have died, but sometimes come back to life. So in the previous cycle, when we talk about 2020, I bought Voyager, and Voyager was a dead coin, completely dead. VeChain looked like this, and Utrust looked like this, and they all made me good money. Even Cardano looked like this. Cardano lost so much money. Hold on, let's compare. So if we go high to low, oh god, hold on, should probably go on to a better time frame actually. Bear with me to make this look a little bit more neater. So is that low there-ish? So 98%, right? Cool, right? It's a big drop, don't get me wrong. But again, oh, I need another chart for Cardano. Bear with me. Cardano is usually a great one to kind of compare with. Don't give me Binance. Oh, fuck off. I don't want Binance. Bear with me. I don't think I can get it. But anyways, it went down rough sort of numbers. Like, oh, God. It went down about 97, 98%, which is pretty scary. But yeah, when I look at certain things like that, it's like look like solid buys, but it all depends on the team. And for me, the reserve team are actually still there. So you know when a team isn't there not doing the thing. It's very, very obvious. But yeah, it's just one of those things, isn't it? FTX massive blow, yeah. I remember, so back in 2020, 2012 and 2013, I was interested in crypto, right? I was interested in Bitcoin. I was looking at buying, and then I was joining the military and I thought, I'll just wait. And I'm glad I did wait, because literally about 6 to 7 weeks later from me joining the military, not FTX, Mt. Gox happened. So hold on, let's remind the Mt. Gox collapse. When was it? It was the start of the year, wasn't it? When did it happen? Are we gonna find out? So it's February 2014. Yeah. So I joined the military in December 2013, right? So I joined then, and I was thinking I was gonna buy into Bitcoin when I finished training and stuff like that, which was gonna be a 9 months training. And this all kicked off and went tit shaped. And I just left it alone after that for a long time. Like I came back to it in 2016. So yeah, I was like, yeah, crypto's dead. And it's just weird how you think back how quickly that escalated very, very fast. But I was doing a football website, and I was on some like search engine optimization website and backlinking website just to kind of help grow it and find them writers and stuff. And there's a lot of like Bitcoin advertisements on it. I started going down the rabbit hole of Bitcoin. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And I was like, oh, do I invest in this? I don't really know what I'm doing. And I was joining the military like 3 or 4 months later, and I just kind of went, no, I'll wait until I'm all settled in the military and I've got a bit more money behind me, because I was going to earn a lot more money, obviously, back in the day. God, it's a long time ago. That's like 10 years ago. So yeah, pretty scary, really. But sometimes you need a bit of luck to make some money, and some people got very lucky on the back of FTX. Not FTX, Mt. Gox. You get the idea. But yeah, some people might get lucky over the back of FTX now in terms of this new cycle coming forward, which is pretty... It's similar, but I don't think it's nowhere near as similar. If Binance went, I think that would be the Mt. Gox, and that would put us into the dark ages for a very, very long time, and things would go very, very wrong very, very quickly, I think. What we're talking here? What's going to happen on Celsius? I don't really know, to be fair. I think the biggest holdings that they had was Celsius Coin, their own coin, which is fair enough. But when I looked, it wasn't massive volume. It was only a couple of million here and there. So I think it get eaten up pretty quickly, to be fair. If it was like 30, 40 million in terms of, yeah, pretty big, but some of them seem pretty small. So it wasn't too bad, to be fair. Trying to think what else what other questions that I've gone over before. I don't really like any central bank digital currencies. I think it's going to be a really interesting fight. It should be all right though. I think there's quite a few people waking up to the idea that they're actually bad. Like certain governors in America, in terms of like certain states, have gone, well, we're not having those. I think there's 2 or 3 now that have said they're not having them, which is good. Need a few more. And obviously in the UK, we need to say no thank you, which would be pretty good. What do you think about the current state of crypto community, the influences, scams, and people sharing politics? Don't get me started, man. Thing is, though, and I said it before at the start of this live, it feels like a very different market compared to the previous cycle. So when we talk about going into 2018 and 2019, before COVID crash and stuff like that, the market was very dead. There wasn't many influencers around. I wasn't even using Twitter back then. I was starting my YouTube journey. I obviously launched a company, then I did YouTube secondary to that. So in 2019, I started doing videos. There wasn't many people around, and now there's a lot of people around. They've got so many not so much hidden agendas, but they're always talking about something, right? And there's still a load of YouTubers right now, so it feels like to me that this bear market hasn't been that bad, but there's a lot of influencers trying to get a quick buck, trying to get paid. There's a lot of like weird ass deepfake scams as well. But yeah, it's when you see people like Leia, for example, who actually used to work for me at one point, which is quite funny. It goes 360, honestly. It's mental, thinking like how small she was doing videos for learning crypto, and then now she's like a massive political influencer. It's like, it just blows my brain. It's like, wow, that's crazy. Life comes at you fast, I suppose. But yeah, I just can't really. I just like what I do here. I just try and keep as real as possible and just be myself, because I've fallen out with a lot of influencers because they change, and they do change. You all see it. You see how they get very excited and they start changing how they approach things, and they start like getting greedy with money, and they try and take money off people. It's like really, really weird. Just don't like it. Just stick to what you're good at and just keep doing it. It's like me basically going, tomorrow I'm going to put up the price of the Patreon to £100 a month. Give me it. It's like, well, no. No point. But yeah, it feels dead now. However, this is my first cycle. Well, yeah, you probably do. If you've gone from a bullish cycle or a more hopium-based hype cycle where you're seeing more videos, you're seeing more people talk, more news, more information, etc., you get the idea. It will feel quiet, but when Bitcoin went down to say, like, well, let's talk about it. When Bitcoin went down to 3K back in these cycles down here, right? So you think 20K down to 3K, this was horrific. I cannot even describe how bad that was. And I was launching a company at this point, and we're so lucky to survive that first 6 months, let's be fair here. Like, in terms of me being full-time in crypto, so lucky. So lucky. But yeah, we haven't got anywhere near as bad as it is. And like, I know experience is a massive plus point for buying altcoins and seeing that perspective and obviously that intuition that comes around. But for me, when I look at this bear market, I think it's been quite easy because I was lucky enough to have profit, to wait to then buy. And a lot of people give me shade because I bought in like December, well, November, December time when it went low. It's like, why are you buying? People just couldn't get their head around why I bought. And then they look at like Dominus. Oh, Dominus is going like, why did you buy? Because I'm buying in USD. It's profit. It doesn't matter. For me, it's just I can put more money in if I need to or want to. But when it came down here, a lot of people, including myself, was like, we're never going to see a 20K Bitcoin again, are we? CME futures are the top. We're never going to go anywhere higher than that. I was majorly wrong, clearly. But it's just one of those things. It's just crazy in terms of then you think, wow, it's got all the way up there. So yeah, it's just absolute bedlam, really. But this is why I think a lot of people now on Twitter are getting a little bit arsey with the fact that when you talk about altcoins, it's like, but it's dead. It's not moving anything. Nothing's happening. Look at RSR. Look at NIA. Look at this. Look at that. Look. Right, and the whole point of investing is to buy low. Not when it's looking good, not when it's like already done 12x or something ridiculous, because that's where nothing happens. But yeah, we'll see how things go. Besides that, what altcoins would you buy today? Max 2 to 3 coins. Rose. Probably Moonbeam. And something that I don't hold. Oh, I don't know actually. Maybe, I don't know, hold on. Something that probably is pretty good fair value, to be fair. It's quite hard to think, actually. Maybe make a DAO. If you know, you know. I actually hold a little bit of that on my Patreon portfolio. People should do research on that one, to be fair. Yeah, it feels like the market's in a lull anyways. It's a typical year 3 of the cycle. Not a lot's happening, and it's good. You want that. Next year, halving. Next year, presidential election. That's usually when it gets a bit tasty, to be fair. A lot of crypto influencers seem mentally unstable. You're not wrong. I do think the greed thing is huge, though. I caught myself into it very, very quickly. Like, I thought, wow, I'm getting addicted to the fact that my subscribers are going up, my likes are going up, my views are going up, my money was going up, my wealth was going up because of the crypto, and I started getting onto the bandwagon. Then I snapped myself out of it when I started to see it wasn't me, and a reality check kind of came in. A lot of people don't have that kind of grounding, luckily, that I was able to spot that, if that makes sense. But yeah, you're right. It feels like, I don't know, it's like giving a kid an iPad very, very young. It's like they get addicted to it. And it's the same with raising anything. It's like once you get into the point of seeing the numbers and watching it grow and getting better and better, it's like you want to keep doing it. This is why I keep seeing, I'm not going to mention any content creators, but when the views get lower, what they do to compensate for the views getting lower, they do more content. They're doing like 7 or 8 videos per week, and then it gets to like 12 to 13 per week. It's like, how can you do that many videos? It's crazy. Have a life. Mental. But that's my personal opinion on it. It's like, really? Like, it's just crazy. Absolutely crazy. But can you check Fetch? I could try and have a little look at Fetch. It's been a while since I looked at it. It always intrigues me, this one. This was like the true one AI coin that was like, yeah, we're AI. We've been AI since like 2019 or whatever it was. And the one that really, yeah, it did well during the AI pump. But other coins were like a little bit sneaky and going, we're now AI. But yeah, to be fair, this looks like decent value in my opinion now. It's going down to 21. It would be nicer if it can go a little bit lower. But this is one of the, as I say, one of the originals that was actually AI infrastructure and all that kind of stuff, which is great. I just hate, I hate it. I hate the fact that certain coins just all of a sudden just change their wordings and their website and go, we're now AI. Fuck off, you're not. It's like when Zilliqa was doing like NFTs and metaverse stuff. It's like, you're a sharding blockchain. You were the first ever sharding blockchain to work functionally with its own code language, and you decided to go down NFTs. Well done. Sorry, a bit of frustration just coming out there. But yeah, stuff like that just winds me up. But yeah, quite a lot. It's got potential. What else have we got? Fortin Glimmer, yeah, spot on. I like it. It's decent. It's fine. It's decent code base. Problem is with it, it's still got a few emissions to come out, but it's getting towards the end now though. It's already got its new parachain, crowd loan, whatever. Well, it's going to change in the future anyways in terms of renting of spaces or cores on Polkadot, which would be good. But yeah, fingers crossed in the future it'll get a decent uptick. But yeah, we'll see. Oh, nearly at 100 likes. Come on, if you're not yet, smash that like button, please do. It does help massively in the future. I am, as I said before at the start, I am planning to do more live streams. There will be one on Wednesday because we've got a CPI, and hopefully on Friday. The Friday ones have been a bit hit and miss recently because I have been busier on a Friday than normal due to the fact that my girlfriend is half broken. Yeah, I had such high hopes for Zilliqa when I first bought it. I love the fact that it went up to where it went up to, and I made a lot of money off it. But it was a sort of one that I would have came back to very easily. But just when everything went a bit, it kind of hurt. When all the team just leave and just walk away, it's like, okay. Matic's all right. Matic's a little bit of a sore one because I was talking about Matic in 2019 and I wasn't buying it when India were like, this is why I talk about probably experience now. India were like constantly going, we're going to ban cryptocurrency. We're going to stop you from using cryptocurrencies in India. And it was nearly every week. And Matic was an Indian project at the time. They rebranded, they moved away from India, and then it went, whoom. So yeah, I was talking about Matic way before most people back in 2019, 2020 when the start of my channel, which is annoying, but I still like it a lot. It's still good. I want it to do well. A lot of people think I'm just cynical with everything that does well, but I'm not. I was expecting it to go lower though in this bear cycle, but it actually held up pretty well. When we look at the bigger picture, let me just show you. So I was expecting us to go down here at some point, retest, but it actually carried on doing well. But now we're down here, so maybe it could happen, but it's taken a lot longer to get to that point. But the BTC pair, bear with me, we hit a really important level almost. So I pinpointed this level ages ago, thinking, wow, if it goes here, that would be pretty decent value, considering in February it was here and now it's here. That is a huge decline, by the way, massive. So there's definite fair value here in terms of a 68% drop in the BTC pair. Huge. So yeah, it looks a lot more fair value now versus what it was a couple of months back. So yeah, it was really annoying when I was talking about wanting to buy Matic at the start of the year because I wanted to buy it for my earner portfolio on Patreon. It was on my list, but it just wasn't falling anywhere near where I wanted it to. I think Cardano will run. I think someone summed it up perfectly on my Patreon Discord. It has the lemon factor. If you know the game of the lemons, where they all follow each other into battle, it feels like that as a community where anything will happen to this, the community will send it. And I've always said this, the community is the biggest thing on any crypto asset for me. The technology is great, don't get me wrong, yes. The team have to make the magic happen, but the community can pump anything. They could do a partnership with literally a baked bean company and it will probably pump because they'll get excited, they'll create the content, the articles, etc., and it'll do well. It's crazy what a good community can do. And it's the same for like other assets. Look at XRP as well. They've got the lemon factor too. Great way of wording it. Works very well though. But yeah, hated the fact that certain things went a bit awry because of, news headlines, regulations, we're going to ban cryptocurrency because X, Y, and Z. It's like, oh, great. But sometimes you look at that thinking, wow, that was just so manipulative to give a really awesome order. It's like, oh, thanks, mate. BNC, I think BNC is totally fine, to be fair. The low cap, though, is a micro cap thing. In this little rangy area, but it's near enough where I was buying, to be fair. I was buying roughly around 20 cent levels, so it's not too bad. But yeah, this could have some nice potential, potentially, we'll see. But yeah, definite decent value-ish. We'll see where it can go, though. Have NFTs had their... No, I don't think NFTs have had their day. I think NFTs have got a place to stay, but I think the hype will nowhere near be as... It won't be as bad. I think people would have woken up to the fact of like selling a rock for $1 million now. I hope. That is like the perfect top signal, by the way. Like if you start seeing stuff for like $2 million or what. So yeah, bear that in mind. Big fan of Glimmer, but what price do we cash out? The $1 million question. Could be anywhere, really. Depends on how much money you've made is usually a good point. I like to look at Fibonacci retracements and see where it can go up to, but I sell bits at key level. That's what I do. Doesn't really worry me selling. If you sell too early, it doesn't really matter, as long as you make money along the way, but don't sell all your bag too quickly. That's the one thing that I will say. Is the institutional adoption in the future somewhat concerning? Kind of ish. I think Bitcoin could have control. I think Bitcoin could turn into gold a little bit in terms of less volatility, because institutions will not want to put a spot ETF in the first few years, if they ever get one, into eventually morphing it into their own funds in the iShares, for example, with BlackRock, or into pension funds with huge volatility. Imagine people with like a percentage of their pensions on a high risk in cryptocurrency and it goes down 40%. That won't be very good, will it? So yeah, we'll see how things go with that one, but I think altcoins won't be that bad. It just depends on what happens with this spot ETF and then where it evolves from there. Does it go into having an altcoin ETF, like a spot one of like 10 to 15 different assets? Or are we going to have like, maybe, don't quote me on this, but maybe in 10 years' time, a similar sort of stuff to the S&P 500, where you got the top 100 blockchain assets in an index. Imagine that, that'd be crazy as a spot ETF. Come on. So there's a lot of like potential there, but you're right in terms of decentralization, control of price, volatility. It may well make things pretty boring. And then that'll be it. The crypto wealth game that has gone, essentially, and like it'll just become like the stock market or the FX market. So yeah, that could be very, very interesting. Do I trade futures? No, not anymore. I'm too busy to trade nowadays. I'd rather run the company, build content, and do other stuff than just sit and look at the charts nowadays. But that's my personal opinion on it. What do you think of stable coins and if they're safe enough? They're safe enough, but don't put all your eggs in one basket is usually what I say. So split it up into Tether, USDC, and DAI. You can't have one point of failure, obviously. So yeah, just stick to that, really. Do you ever think you'll be fully out of the market and done? Nah, I think I'll always invest. I think I'll just take more money out of crypto and put it into other markets and just watch wealth grow. Or hire a wealth manager and just look after my money when I've made enough, and then I can just sit back and relax and chill out and just do little bits, do like a dividend portfolio, have a smaller crypto portfolio and have a bit of fun, and then just do content. That's probably what I'd do if it gets a bit too big. But I've not got to that point yet where it's like unmanageable, so that's usually a good sign. So maybe in the next cycle it might become unmanageable, depends on what the results are. But I have been accumulating pretty aggressively with profits, so my bags are a little bit bigger, and I've not quite had the stomach to do the maths in terms of what could happen if said asset hits all-time high, because I think that is where I'll start getting a little bit excited. But at the end of the day, it has to happen before you get excited, so there's no point doing it. The idea is not to get excited when you're investing. It often goes wrong if you do. But yeah, for me, there's a lot of fantastic opportunities, I think, in the market. But yeah, we'll see how things go. Anyways, I want to shoot because I've been on here way too long today. But I do appreciate people coming out. I'll be back on Friday as a live stream doing similar sort of crypto stuff. But on Wednesday, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, etc. because I will be here for CPI reaction. They're usually quite good fun to watch. Monitoring random stuff. It's usually quite fun. So yeah, appreciate it all.